we have found a clog in here, but we're going to check for other places in the vacuum because we might have clogs other places.
Okay.
As I was showing you earlier, the path the dirt takes through the vacuum, there could be a clog anywhere in this tube and in the bottom of the vacuum. Fortunately, clogs don't happen too often in this tube. It's usually going to be in the main compartment, or it's going to be right in the bottom of the vacuum where it's easily accessible. But every once in a while you will get a clog somewhere in this tube. It's one of the more difficult things to deal with, but we can take care of it. It comes apart at various sections. One is right here, so you can gain access from there. We'll also gain access to this from the bottom when we flip it over. But an additional place that you can gain access is right back here. You can can just pull this back, flip it around, and you gain access to the tube. One other important thing to note is that this little circle here has you can actually spin it around, and it allows you to reduce the amount of suction on the vacuum if you don't want it to have a stronger suction, but for most purposes you're going to want this to be fully closed. So that is something to keep in mind. If you don't feel like your vacuum's working as well, this may have just gotten turned open. What it does is it opens a cavity there, and it reduces the amount of air that's being pulled through because you're pulling air through this cavity here, and so it's not going to pull as much air through the vacuum. So, but normally we're just going to want to leave that so that it's completely closed off, no cavity there. Okay, so back to clearing clogs. I can actually see that this vacuum has something lodged right here.
Oh yeah, it's kind of bulging right there, isn't it?
Yep, and I think that probably what that is maybe a hairpin. That's one of the more common things to get clogged in the tube. As I was saying before, it can be a little bit difficult to get that out.
You mean you can't vacuum up hairpins?
Well, you know, sometimes you might be successful, but ordinarily you should avoid it.
How about paper clips?
Yeah, you want to avoid that kind of thing, but inevitably sometimes you're going to get something lodged in there, and you just want to be aware of it and you want to get that out. The big problem is when this gets lodged in here, they're then going to get hair and other things trapped around that hairpin or whatever it is there, and then it's going to, it's going to block the passage, and your vacuum's going to stop working. So what you can do, we actually have a handle here that we can use. You can use any sort of, whatever you can find. You essentially just want to try to fish that hairpin out. You can use this to actually go into the tube and try to get it out, dislodge it. Okay, so other than changing out your bag and changing out your filters, this is where you're going to see most problems that you run into on your vacuum, is right down here on the bottom. This is where you're going to repair most things. Most of the time it's just cleaning the vacuum up and getting out clogs. You can see on the roller, pretty commonly you're often going to get, strands of carpet or other things, hair wrapped around the roller, and it sort of just, prevents it from working as well as it could. So one thing we can do regularly is just clean this up. You can pull all these strands out. If you have a particularly problematic one, this is where we can use the needle nose pliers to really grab that stuff out of there, and we can get it all cleaned up. Okay, so we have successfully cleaned all of that, all those strands of carpet and whatnot from the roller. So from here, and you can actually remove the roller if you want. All you have to do is pull it right out. You just pull it straight out like that, and then you just take it right out, and then it gives you better access to the bottom here. You can clean all of this. There's quite a bit of stuff in here.
Yeah.
Now, here I'm going to show you by far the most common place that you're going to get a clog in this vacuum is in this white tube right here. This right here is where most of your clogs are going to come from in this vacuum. It's right where stuff enters into the tube, and naturally it just gets clogged up right there at the opening. So you can actually take there's a screw right here, and just by removing that one screw, you're going to get a lot better access to this tube. Don't lose the screw when you pull it out, so just pull it off to the side, and then we can actually lift this right up, and you get really good access to this. You can see there is some debris right down in there. We can actually...
Can you see that?
Yep, can you see that? We can actually pull this right off if we want to. Pretty tight.
Oh yeah,
wow.
That's a clog.
Yep. So actually at the other end of that, so we definitely do have a clog in here.
Ah, piece of paper.
There we go.
Ah, you can't vacuum that stuff up.
Yep, so like clockwork, this is always the place that has the clog. So we can also disconnect the tube right there, and we can even pull this out here if we need to get anything further out of this, like so. And we can, you know, use a stick or whatever to actually feed out anything that's stuck in there, and that's clear, you can see. So we can, now all we gotta do is put this back together. We can also always dump the dirt out just like we did on the other side. Ugh, that's a lot of dust. See all that dirt?
You want to do that with a piece of cardboard or something, yeah? Is that belt, do you want to change that belt?
Yep, we'll on to that next, but first let's put this two back together. This you just gotta feed through here.
There's a hole in the back there.
Like so. And we're gonna secure this back on. Now you can see that this edge is slanted, and you want that slanted edge to go in like so that the flat part is upwards.
The rounded part slides.
And this part lines up with where the screw goes in. So we're just going to attach this back together now.
So you just push that back on.
Make sure you got it fully secured back onto there. You're going to push this down, and then you just put that screw back in place to hold it in.
Phillips head.
Phillips head.
Well, that would account why this vacuum cleaner wasn't sucking so well.
Yep, we had multiple problems with this vacuum, particularly that the bag was loose and that filter was all clogged up, and then that we had the clog right here. So we're really gonna make a lot of improvements to how well this thing is working. One other thing, the last step here would be to put the roller back in, but this is a good opportunity to show you that sometimes this belt that connects the motor to the roller, sometimes this belt will actually break, it'll snap, and then if that happens, you'll no longer have any rotation of the roller, and so the vacuum's not going to work nearly as well. On this one, you can see it hasn't actually split yet, but you can see that it's getting older. You can see all those grooves in it. You can see how it's drying out, and it's probably likely to break sometime soon. So we'll go ahead and replace this as well. All you have to do to get this out of here from here is you just have to pull it off of that metal rod that's sticking out of the motor. And that metal rod, you can see it stops right here, and so we just have to pull the belt off to the side to get it off of that. So it just fits right around there. We just pulled it off. Now we can get a new belt, which comes in a, oh sorry, yep. You can see the old and the new belt.
A lot less cracked, a lot less dirty.
Belts come in a case like this, and Geoff has already pulled it out for me. Thank you, Geoff.
Oh, you're
And
welcome.
all these parts are at the ICC office down in the tool area down in the basement.
Down in the basement, yep. So now all we have to do is slip this around that. We want to be inside this metal bracket, so we're going to be inside that, and then we're going to move it around that
Steel shaft.
that shaft that's sticking out of the motor. So there we go. We've got it around there, like so. And this stretches. It does stretch. So we're going to put it around the roller. You want it on this end of the roller, the black end with this bump, and the belt's actually going to go right over that bumped up raised part. So right there. And then you just got to stretch it and pull it to get it down there. And you're just putting it in there, and you're putting this side in here, and it fits right. Fits nicely right in there. And there we go. Now every once in a while you might see some damage to the ends of these rollers where the roller no longer spins freely, and we can also get you a new roller if you need one. That doesn't happen very commonly, but if you do, just let me know, and I can, or any of the other staff members, and we can get you a new roller as well if that ever happens. So from here, we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna put the panel back on. That's really all you need to know.